For example, one today we have supposed that a film manufactures MP3 players, and again this is an old book, and sells them for $50 each. The cost incurred in the production and sale of MP3 players is $200,000, plus $10 for each player produced and sold. We are asked to write the profit function for the production and sale of X MP3 players. We are asked to figure out how many MP3 players must the company produce and sell to break even, and how much money will the company make if they produce and sell 15,000 MP3 players. So in terms of a profit function, everyone, we know that profit is equal to revenue minus cost. And so in order to come up with a profit function, I first need a revenue function and I need a cost function. So let's take a look at those two separately. We have revenue and we have cost. Revenue is how much money I make for each item times the number of items sold. And so each MP3 player is going to sell for $50, and I don't know how many of them we're going to be able to sell. So we're going to say 50 times X, which means $50 for every MP3 player sold. You can think of this as marginal revenue, and we will use the words slope and marginal interchangeably, meaning that marginal means how much for one more, and slope means how much for one more. Let's take a look at the costs of making these MP3 players. So we have a cost of $200,000 plus $10 for each MP3 player produced and sold. And so when we see 10 for each, that tells us 10 for every MP3 player sold plus 200,000. So if we were to look at this and we were to define kind of this cost function a little bit for our benefit, we would see that the 10 is marginal cost, or something that we could also refer to as variable cost. And we would see that this 200,000 over here is what we would call fixed cost. So the fixed costs would be things like the rental of the building, paying the electricity every month, the purchase of the materials to make the MP3 players, that sort of thing. So again, the number that's attached to the variable or the slope, we are going to refer to as a marginal cost, revenue, or profit. And a number hanging out there on the end, like the 200,000, is going to be what we refer to as a fixed cost. So as we get going with our profit function, let's go ahead and do that. So a stumbling point for many students over the years that I've been doing this is this guy right here. We are going to have to be very careful about that minus sign, because that minus sign is going to apply to the entire cost function, not to just the 10 in the front of the cost function. So let's go ahead and bring our things over, and we're going to replace R with 50x because revenue is 50x. Write your minus sign. Don't forget to write the minus sign. Again, that comes from right there. Minus, and in parentheses, it's the entire cost function that's being subtracted, not just the 10. I'm a little bit tight here on my math. One of my math teachers would have yelled at me if I made a mess like that, because he preferred things to be done very clean and neat. So I apologize to my former math teacher for making it look ugly. At any rate, folks, we can go ahead and give this to Wolfram and it will handle it for us. So we've got 50x minus, in parentheses, 10x plus 200,000. And so we see that what we have now is 40x minus 200,000. So our profit is equal to 40x minus 200,000. And we do have a profit function. Let's see what remains for us to do for this problem. How many MP3 players must the company... First, before we move on to part B, and so this is going to be part A. But before we go on to part B, let's talk about the different pieces of this profit function and identify them. That 40 right there is the slope. It is the marginal profit, which means how much for one more. So this is saying how much profit am I going to make for one more MP3 player. The tricky part is that we have this over here, which is a negative profit of $200,000. This negative $200,000 is actually the fixed cost from our cost function, and it represents a number that we have to reach before we even start making any money. And so let's say, for instance, that we put 1 in there for X. We sell one MP3 player. We've made $40, but now we still owe $199,960. We've got a long way to go before we're making any money. So moving on to Part B does ask us to find the break-even point for this company. Let's recall that we can find break-even in two ways. We can do profit is equal to 0, or when revenue is equal to cost. For the purpose of this example, I will do both just to illustrate that either is okay. In some instances and in some problems, you will only have enough information to use one of these. In this case, I have enough information to do both, and I will. So our profit was 40x minus 200,000. When that is equal to 0, we break even. We're going to bring Wolfram back on the scene. And we do have 40x minus 200,000 equals 0. That's going to let us know that x is 5,000, meaning that we must produce and sell 5,000 MP3 players to break even. That means we haven't made any money yet. To make money, we have to sell 5,001. Then we will make 40 bucks. Again, the other way to do this is revenue equals cost. And so we do have the revenue function of 50x and the cost function of 10x plus 200,000. And again, you do not have to do both of these. I am doing both of these just to show that I'm going to get the same result no matter which one I use. And so I've got let's see. Revenue is 40x, cost is equal to 50x plus 200,000. So when revenue is equal to cost, let's see what number we get out. I did that wrong. That should be 50x right there. And that should be 10x over there. It's been a long day, everyone. Typo, city, for Schlegel. So we do get x equals 5,000 by using revenue is equal to cost exactly as we did when we tried to find when profit was equal to 0. So for B, what we would say is the company needs to produce and sell 5,000 MP3 players to break even. And again, everyone, these people still have not made any money. They need to sell more than 5,000 MP3 players to make any kind of profit. Selling 5,000 just does enough for them to be able to stay in business and pay their bills. Let's take a look at number 3, part C. How much money will the company make if they produce and sell 15,000 MP3 players? So let's go up here and let's be very clear about something. When we're talking about how much money the company makes, we are talking about profit. We are not talking about revenue. No one cares about revenue at all, because money that comes in that you just have to turn around and give to bills is money that you might as well not even have. So when we are talking about how much money will the company make, we are strictly looking for profit. And so I do have a profit function. Profit was equal to 40x minus 200,000. And we can use that to figure out how much money the company will make if they produce and sell 15,000 MP3 players. Let's get Wolfram over here to do that for us. So we are going to have 40 times 15,000. We're selling 15,000 MP3 players minus our $200,000 that it costs us to be in business, and the result is $400,000. So producing and selling 15,000 MP3 players, the profit would be $400,000 for selling 15,000 MP3 players. Bit of a lengthy one that time, everyone. I hope that my explanations are making sense, and I hope this is helping.